meeting of the Audit, Safety, Compliance, and Real Estate Committee of the Greater Cleveland RTA on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. It is just a few moments after 8 a.m. We have, first, would the clerk please take the roll?
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Pachetti, Ms. Elder, Mr. Sleesman,
Yep.
Ms. Wiggum.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. We have one item on the agenda, and it is to provide an update on the status of the agency's internal audit charter, which a number of people have been working on for quite some time, and we're making good progress. We decided that although we won't be taking any action today, this morning, on the charter itself, we thought enough time has gone by that it made sense to go back and refresh everyone's recollection about how we got to where we are and where we go from here. And the plan will be to bring the full charter to the board in January, February of next year. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Anthony Garofoli, the Executive Director for Internal Audit.
Thank you and good morning, Mayor Weiss, members of the committee, those board members here, and members of the audience. I will be speaking on the revised global internal audit standards and the status of the internal audit charter. The objectives are to explain the purpose and role of the internal audit charter, highlight key changes driven by the new global internal audit standards, and clarify expectations for the board, executive management, and internal audit. Why is the charter revised? So the Institute of Internal Auditors issued new global internal audit standards in January 2024, and they were effective January 9th, 2025, replacing the 2017 standards framework. The new standards restructure guidance into domains, principles, and standards, and elevate leading practices to mandatory requirements. Updating the charter ensures formal conformance to these new standards and reflects current expectations for governance, risk management, and control. Here's a slide that the IA puts out, and it certainly describes, with their symbol, the 5 domains, 15 principles, and 52 standards that have changed effective in January of 2025. They are broken up into 5 domains. Let me tell you how they impact the authority. Purpose of internal audit certainly describes our role in providing assurance and consulting services to the board and to this organization. Domain 2, ethics and professionalism. That guides our behavior in terms of things like ethics, confidentiality, handling of information. Domain 3 is for the Board of Trustees, how you govern the internal audit function. That includes the development and approval of an internal audit charter, the hiring and remuneration of the internal audit director, okay, and then to approve the internal audit plan, amongst other tasks that are assigned within this domain. Domain 4 is how I manage the internal audit department. And finally, domain 5 is how my staff conducts internal audits. All of these domains contribute to the information within the charter. The role of the internal audit charter. The charter is a formal document approved by the board and audit committee that defines internal audit's purpose, authority, and responsibility. It establishes internal audit's organizational position, reporting lines, which I'll talk about in the next couple slides, scope of work, and commitment to the Institute of Internal Audit standards and code of ethics. The charter serves as a blueprint for how internal audit operates and signals the value placed on its independence and objectivity. Here's a slide for just a summary of the responsibilities of key stakeholders. You'll hear me talk about the role of the board. I just talked about that in domain 3 with the governance. Executive leadership to support the internal audit department to achieve its mission, certainly in my functional reporting to the board, and then the administrative reporting to the general manager, CEO, which I'll describe a little bit later. And then my role to execute the audit plan and to make sure it's done in accordance with the internal audit standards with a quality assurance program. Linked to the global audit standards. The new standards emphasize the 5 domains: ethics and professionalism, governing the internal audit function, managing the function, performing the services, and communicating results. Internal audit's mandate, roles, responsibilities, and authority must now be clearly articulated and evidenced through an internal audit charter and approved by the Board of Trustees. A lot of musts within this mandate in these new revised standards. The revised charter incorporates these requirements and conforms internal audit's obligation to conform with the global internal audit standards. What has changed in the charter? Purpose and mission is updated to reflect enhancing and protecting organizational value through risk-based assurance, advice, and insight. Different services internal audit provides. The charter clarifies authority, including unrestricted access to records, personnel, and physical property relevant to our engagements, consistent with the standards. Roles of the board and audit committee in approving the charter, overseeing internal audit, and supporting independence articulated more explicitly. Governance, independence, and reporting. Independence reinforced through direct functional reporting of the Executive Director of Internal Audit to the Board Audit Committee, with administrative reporting to the General Manager, CEO. The charter now requires at least annual confirmation of internal audit's organizational independence to the board. I will do that in February as we ask the board to pass our risk-based audit plan. Reporting expectations, the frequency, content, and nature of communications with the board and executive management, align with the new standards with emphasis on enhanced communication. Defining some of those roles, so functional oversight by the board and audit committee ensures the independence, strategic alignment, and effectiveness of the internal audit department. Administrative oversight by the general manager provides logistical, personnel, and operational support to the audit function without interfering with our core responsibilities. Scope of services. The scope is expanded and clarified to include assurance and consulting services over governance, risk management, and control processes across the organization. The charter confirms that internal audit maintains a quality assurance improvement program, including ongoing monitoring and periodic internal and external assessments. The charter commits internal audit to periodic external quality assessments every 5 years under the guidelines. Recall we had our last external assessment 2.5 years ago, and we received a generally conforms, the highest rating possible. Results of QAIP activities and any actions will be reported to senior management and the Board of Trustees, consistent with that last reporting. What this means in practice: internal audit will continue to use a risk-based planning approach and provide outcome-focused assurance and advisory services aligned with organizational objectives. Stakeholders can expect clearer roles, stronger collaboration, and more transparent communication on risks, controls, and audit results. The updated charter affirms internal audit is a trusted strategic advisor while preserving independence and objectivity. Next steps: ongoing discussions with internal and external legal counsel. Internal audit staff will recommend the revised charter for formal approval with the Board of Trustees, Committee of the Whole, And we talked about, Mayor Weiss mentioned that in either January or February. Internal audit will update our own procedures, our documents, our manuals, and our methodologies to conform with these standards. And then we will plan periodic reviews of the charter to keep it aligned with any evolving or changes that may occur. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Tony?
So if I may,
Tom.
thank you. Just to be able to support the presentation that was given, the intent for this meeting, and I know we're down a couple of members, specifically Anastasia was involved in the beginning conversations of this particular document generation, but Chanel, we know that you're new to the board and new to the committee, and then Jeff, you're also relatively new to this document briefing, and Emily would be as well. So we wanted to make sure that we gave an opportunity for you to ask any questions. The idea behind and we'll just call it the charter. We're having conversations on the formal name and all of that as well. But the idea for the audit charter to be updated, as Tony mentioned, is to make sure that we can provide clarity to the document. We've had one around for, I don't know how long, the one we...
It's March of 2024.
And it needs to be updated per all of the kind of the details that have been gone through in the presentation. There are involvement from legal on the external and the internal side. As we have kind of gone through the edits for this, it's a pretty lengthy process because we are talking about not just commas and periods and all of that go into the normal formatting, but also the reporting structure or the review process when you talk about things like attorney-client privilege for documents, when you talk about things like sensitive information that might be brought into court at some point, and then also talking about, as Tony mentioned, the reporting not only to me administratively, or wait a minute, which one is it?
Administrative.
Administratively, but functionally to the board, right, for audit. So you want to make sure that the audit team retains the independence to be able to review items and matters that are important to the authority, but everyone and no one is kind of exonerated from exemption. Everyone has to have a little bit of oversight, so you want to make sure that the reporting structure supports that independence. We also talk about things like data that is sensitive, so personal protected information. And we talk about things like emails and bank accounts and social security numbers and HIPAA information, and all of that kind of goes into the soup as we're talking about updating this document. So we want to bring it to the table, and we'd like to bring it to the table in a form that is pretty nearly at least more than halfway baked. We've been at this for probably the better part of a year to be able to go through this with the third-party legal to kind of help through some of the process of fine tweaking it. But we want to make sure that we have the internal control and internal agreement of the document draft that we put before the board so that we're not starting from scratch, even though we have some new players at the table. So the auditing quarterly report, I think, is one of the most engaging committees that we have. It's the one where you see Tony's team is about 7 or 8 people that sit here in front and give that presentation, and we really go into the nitty-gritty of some of the documents and some of the projects that we're auditing or Tony's team is auditing. So all of that should be reflected in this document. The intention, as he mentioned, is to be able to bring it to you in January. The idea is, again, we've been working on this for quite a while, so wanted to make sure that you were aware that any questions that we can answer to bring you up to speed, we're happy to do that. It is going to be more than half-baked when it comes to you. We had a buy-in and kind of feedback and commentary period this time last year over the course of a few meetings within an external counsel as well. And remember that legal internally, Janet's team and Tony's team have to really play well in the sandbox together to understand how we're going to deep dive into the semantics of this document. The third party is really there to make sure that we have kind of a non-biased opinion, because they don't work here, to be able to let us know whether or not things make sense as we're kind of fettering through the charter and updating it. So again, the idea is to be able to also come to the committee in Q1. Because we've been working on this for such a long time, we'd like to be able to button it up, I believe, and I'm speaking ahead of the chair, but the idea is to get this completed before March election. because again, we don't know what players are here and what are not. We're finding those details out as people are being reappointed, but we've got so many people invested in the process. It would be my preference not to start all over again with folks that are not necessarily or might be new to our processes. So the idea would be to bring it in January in final draft form. The latest version we're going to put back in front of that third party to make sure we're not missing anything. But the real soup of it, so to speak, Janet, I'm using the word that you usually do, is to have legal review the latest document that has been edited between Mayor Weiss, myself, Raj, and Tony, based on the last document that we all looked at as a group a few months ago. So we'll have a comparative analysis, and that'll be the red line, one versus the other. Make sure that we're not missing anything, and bring it back to the full committee for what I believe might be an additional meeting sometime in early January, if we can get it on the calendar. And then get consensus with the idea to bring it in front of the full board in February at the latest so that we can move forward. Don't know if I missed anything, but.
You covered a lot of ground there. Tony, maybe remind everyone, when was the last time we reviewed and made changes to the charter? Was it
2021.
2021?
And they reflected changes when the general manager came aboard to clarify the administrative function.
And the IIA, when was the last time they issued their last update?
Well, 2017 was the last update. Okay, and as I said, I brought forth the model charter from the IIA with some customizations for this organization in draft form in March of 2024. So we've been working on it since then.
Okay. Any other questions?
No questions, but I, as someone who works at a bank and spends her days helping to manage risk and understand the three lines model, like I really appreciate the rigor around this and updating this. And so as we look forward to this and review, things that I'll be looking for is like, how do you safeguard the independence of the audit and management and make sure that everyone is clear on the three lines, right? And so, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Don't think there's anything else on the agenda for this morning for the audit committee.
If I can say this, and it's a pretty short agenda, I think, today, because a lot of the players that had the most questions aren't able to be here, and that's okay. Life happens, right? We all get sick and have things happening at home. But I wanted to also just mention, if you have questions about the document throughout the process, just reach out to me or reach out to Raj as the staff liaison for this particular committee. Not to say that you can't reach out to Janet or Tony, but I'd like to be able to kind of course, with the chair as well, kind of vet them through our normal process to make sure that our liaison can be able to send the question out if it applies to the whole process. I know that we start to get into questions in emails and that kind of thing, but I think we have found as a group that this document is a lot more layered, as was mentioned, so we need to make sure that we can have one-on-one answers to those questions unless we're in a situation where we need to have a committee meeting, which of course we would publicly do like we're doing now. So you can pretty much plan on a draft coming to you with a red line version in January so that you have something to tangibly walk through. But again, the reason that we wanted to keep this meeting is to make sure that we have everybody on the same page, everyone understands where we are, and we kind of table set what the document will entail. So if we had any questions about what the objectives were coming out of the audit committee, that we were able to answer them, and you'll be ready to dive in January, right after the holiday, with a lovely bedside read.
All right. Absent any other items, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Yes.
Great. All righty. All right. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the RTA Board of Trustees for Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Here.
Ms. Pachetti, Ms. Elder, sorry, Mayor Gallo, Mr. Love. Here. Ms. McPherson,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Wiggum.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Next, we have certification regarding notice of meeting.
Mr. President, I advise that notice of this meeting has been posted more than 24 hours in advance and that all usual notification has been given to the media and other interested persons. All requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and rules and bylaws of this board regarding notice of meeting have been complied with.
Thank you so much. Item number 4, we have approval of the minutes from the November 18th board meeting. I think you have those in front of you. If no one has any edits or additions, I would ask for a motion and a second.
So move, McPherson.
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those pass. Next item, we have an executive session requested to discuss details of security arrangements and emergency response protocols. Do I have a motion for that and a second?
So move, Pachetti.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Pachetti,
Here.
Mr.
I
Love.
mean, yes.
Yes.
Ms. McPherson,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum.
Yes.
Motion carries.
session?
So moved. Sleesman.
Second, McPherson.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Pachetti,
Yes.
Ms. Elder, Mayor Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. McPherson,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next, we have on the agenda public comment on agenda and non-agenda items. Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
If we can bring a microphone,
that'd
sir,
be
you can
great.
just
Thank
sit
you.
tight and we'll bring one to you.
Thank you. My name is Council President Ron Jackson from Maple Heights, Ohio. I'm an avid paratransit rider, and recently I've been running into an issue that needs to be resolved, and that's the changing of pickup times after that time has been established through the scheduler and on the computer, and then you get a phone call the day of that changes your pickup time. And that time is earlier than what was scheduled, so I might not be ready. And this isn't an isolated incident. It keeps happening over and over again. Now, I've called the complaint line, gave them this information, and I was told someone would get back to me. It's been about 4 weeks, and I have not heard anything about it. So there's an issue, and this has to be resolved. And also, I'm going to submit a bill because one of these times I was supposed to be picked up at 7 o'clock to go to or 5:45 to go to a Cavaliers game. That bus came 2 hours after my scheduled pickup time. If I would have got on the bus and got to the game, I would have got there midway through the fourth quarter. I spent $150 on that ticket. What's my remedy for that? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And sir, we have Nick Davison from our paratransit here. Maybe you can connect with him and share some additional details on that so he can look into that for you. Thank you. Anyone else? Please.
This is Len. I want to testify in behalf of two things. The service cut reduction. When you cut route service reductions, you cut my independence and freedom to take the bus regularly. That's one. It's important that we have more routes and services for us people with disabilities to be able to, those who choose to be more independent and navigate freely the city that we live in. Another thing, yes, one day I had a paratransit issue and my behavior wasn't the best, but many of your vehicles, I'm autistic and I have sensory processing disorder. Many of your vehicles on your end are loud, obnoxious. The heavy duty engine vehicles should have not been bought. Those vehicles, when they pull up at my house, it gets me sick because the vehicle makes the house move. And I like to see my service restored, but with conditions. When you pull up at my house or pull up at my destination, cut the vehicle off. And the radios are full blast. My sensory input is deteriorating, whether my parents want to accept it or not. My sensory input is deteriorating over the years. Lou knows it, everybody knows it. And the contractor vehicles, many of the vehicles have mechanical problems, and those vehicles affect me a little bit as well. What are we doing? Are you guys inspecting these vehicles and making sure that the vehicles are more sensory friendly for those on the spectrum? Come on now. I care about the service. Another thing I would like to see, I don't like the paratransit name. I like the community response transit name better. It represents something. It represents that you're responding for the community members in need. That's a better name for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. They'll be over in 1 second to grab the mic. Do we have anyone else in the public?
Mr. President,
sir.
there's a comment here.
Sir?
Your name and city of residence.
Go.
My name is Teresa Reed, and I live in Euclid, Ohio. I went to the grocery store at John Eagle last Saturday. The bus took me off the route, and he took them. I had my appointment from 1 o'clock to 1:30. They didn't come back and pick me up until 4 o'clock. And I'm a diabetic. I had to go home and eat, and I got nervous and was shaking. That's uncalled for. That ain't the first time. I went to the Walker building for my rehab. I had 12 from 12 to 12:30 pickup. They didn't pick me up until 3 o'clock. The bus didn't show up. They took me off the route again. And when the bus came, it was a different bus. They're gonna tell me, "Oh, I'm here," like that. And I was looking out the window, make sure that they didn't leave me. But some of the RTA bus driver is gonna have no kind of common sense. They don't have they have nasty attitude. And I've been catching that bus a long time. And I don't deserve all this aggravation that I've been getting from the RTA. I appreciate if they be on time picking me up. I appreciate if they could, when I go to the doctor, they pick me up on time and not cancel my ride. And I'm just fed up. That's my point. Y'all need to do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. In the front row? Sir, the front row, go ahead up.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Kevin Hinkle. I'm a longtime resident and a longtime commuter of RTA. I want to bring up that I was almost involved in the brief altercation aboard Route 1 St. Clair Avenue going eastbound. I boarded the St. Clair bus going eastbound East 6th Street, going to my stop to Herrick Road. There was a lot of students standing in front of the coach, and where commuters can't get on or off the coach. As the bus came to my stop, I told the gentleman, "Excuse me," I'm trying, of course. He started using all kind of 4-letter words and shoved me, and I said, "Sir, please don't do that to me, though. I'm trying to get off the bus. I told you, excuse me," and just went on and on and on and on and on. And I was glad I got off the bus. I think the bus driver should enforce the standard policy. People should not stand in front of the coach like that when people are getting on and off. It's a safety issue for one thing, too. And it's not fair to all the other commuters. So this is what I want to say.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Kumar. My name is Paul Meisner. I'm a resident of Shaker Heights, Mayor Royce. I do have there's been some public press over the last month regarding the what we would call the fiscal cliff. RTA is not unique in this way. We're seeing this issue in Washington, D.C. We're seeing it in Philadelphia and Chicago as well. So RTA is not unique in this way. That as soon as some of those COVID funds run out, which they're expected to run out, the COVID relief funds to run out, and of course the rising cost of pretty much everything, that RTA may have to start either raising fares or cutting service. This is not a situation that anybody here created, but it's a situation that we can get in front of on a PR point of view, leveling off with the constituents of Cuyahoga County and saying, this is what we need to do in order to resolve the situation. So I just ask that everyone be upfront and be transparent as possible about the realism of the situation that we're in. Thank you very much, and everyone have a good day.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Yes, we have a speaker in the rear.
My name is Karen Woods. I'm from Cleveland. And I just want to say, I thank all of you, the whole gamma of RTA. I appreciate you. I enjoy riding paratransit. I love my drivers. I don't have any complaints. I think they're doing a wonderful job, the ones here and the ones behind the scenes. When I went to church Sunday, the driver, Sharlita, picked me up. I hadn't seen her in 2 months or something. It was just like we've known each other for a lifetime. She was so RTA. She represented well. Can I do this for you? You need this here. Let me help you with this. This is RTA, and this is what you want to see. When I see paratransit pull up, I see that uniform, I know I'm in good hands. And when I see the drivers that I know, and most of them I've ridden with, I don't have any problems. I love riding RTA. The paratransit, I don't care what the fare is, Karen's gonna ride. My next thing is kindness. You know, Karen's got to say kindness. Don't wait to a holiday season. Christmas, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is every day. Every day you're blessed to be alive. Why can't people, or some individuals, I would say, pass blessings forward all year long? Spread the kindness. Just spread a good morning. How are you? You see their faces, they look grumpy or whatever, you know, they may be having a bad day, but God woke them up. That's the blessing right there. Some people didn't wake up, but he saw fit to leave each one of us here because he's not finished with us. So in turn, we've got to spread the kindness. Just be blessed, each and every one of you. Even if you don't celebrate, just continue to be blessed, you and your families. God bless each and every one of you. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else in the audience? Seeing none, let's move on to, do we have any callers on the line, Brent?
We have one caller. Caller 0387.
Eric Stewart.
You can go ahead.
I'd like to know the answer to the following questions. Once the payment has been fully made on the new rail cars, even if there's interest included, what will the full cost have been for putting in these new rail cars? Is there going to be an additional cost separate from your regular payments to your employees to adjust the rails for the rail cars? Are you looking to get more buses, and if so, at what cost and how many buses? Are you behind on payment for the current new buses that you have? Prior to April 15th of this year, did you already know that you were going to have to make some adjustments because you were running behind in cost on your duties to your employees, meaning that you're going to have to reduce some employees, reduce some services? And if you did know that, did you know that it was going to be $11 million as it was reported in the newspaper just recently? And if you didn't know it was $11 million, did you know it was going to be any at all? Could all of these questions be answered today? And if you're going to do some reductions and you already know what they are, could you state them today instead of dropping them on the public at the last minute? And the man from Shaker Heights just made a comment to you that you should take seriously. You do need to raise fares. You need to go ahead and raise them now. and get it out the way so that the public can make the necessary adjustments for that. And I want my web form read verbatim because I took the opportunity and time out to send it to you for the purpose of helping to improve service and getting my questions answered on why they weren't answered before.
Thank you very much for your comments.
There were no other callers.
Great. And do we have?
Yes, there are three. First is from Eric Stewart. He writes, do you already know if the 50, 48, 15, 14, 40, and 19 bus routes are going to have reductions in service in the upcoming year? It is best to let the public know about this as soon as possible. My questions have not been answered on my last 6 web forums and public comment phone calls. RTA has a responsibility to the socioeconomic well-being of the public through the implementation of public transit. RTA has failed at this responsibility by refusing to not implement the repeated suggested number 48A and 15A routes, time span suggestions included. The public is owed a fair opportunity to receive the facts on these suggestions and make a thorough examination so ridership can make a decision on if they want these routes. Respect the accurate assessment of the facts. The imagery that is being used by this taxpayer-funded public agency's leadership to mislead the public is foul on multiple levels. Healthy efficiency should be RTA's highest priority in reference to the routes. Second comment is from Benjamin Delfino of Mayfield Village. He writes, of all the options that RTA and NOACA had for the health line, you chose the worst. Replace it with a light rail line that begins at Van Aken and ends at the Terminal Tower. The final comment is from Urvish Patel of Cleveland. The comment is, I am writing to respectfully request that RTA continue its partnership with Cleveland State University and not discontinue the Student Transit Pass program. I am an international student at CSU, and owning a car is not financially possible for me. RTA buses and trains are my only reliable means of transportation, allowing me to commute daily between my home and the university for classes, research, and teaching responsibilities. The student pass is truly life-changing. Regular fares cost about $100 per month, while the CSU pass costs around $60 for 4 months. This amount covers groceries, phone bills, and a portion of my rent. I ask you to continue this service as it is essential for students like me.
Great. And I think relative to that on CSU, that's not discontinued, correct?
Correct. Just whenever we can have quick answers, we try to do that to make sure that we can cut down on the back and forth. A couple of points for clarification. Regarding service cuts, we do not have that information yet. We are basically giving the public advance notice of the likely potential for that to come in 2026. So as soon as we have that information, we will provide that to you so that you can adequately prepare for your trips. Our scheduling and planning and operational division, along with finance, is reviewing that, and we are in the research mode right now. So again, no cuts are planned for 2025. I know that we are in the middle of December, but we will give you advance notice on that when it is ready. Regarding the CSU, Cleveland State University, the UPass program is in effect. That is not discontinued. There was media coverage about 4 or 5 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, Raj, about going back and forth. The initial determination of CSU to stop the UPass program was reversed, and it is made available to students. That's been in effect since the beginning of the semester. And that is it, unless there are any other questions on that. Okay.
Thank you. Next is committee reports under board governance. I have 2 items. Number 1, given the recent changes in trustees, we have some new committee assignments. So thank you to all of you that have accepted new roles. And then I think, Brett, we have an affidavit you'd like to read into the record?
Yes, there's an affidavit for the new board member, Chanel Smith-Wiggum. It reads, I, Chanel Smith-Wiggum, having been duly cautioned and sworn, hereby state the following based upon personal knowledge. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees with the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority. I'm also an employee of KeyBank National Association and serve as a National Community Engagement Director. KeyBank is a subsidiary of KeyCorp. I am not an officer or employee of KeyCorp. I own stock in KeyCorp, which represents less than 0.1% of the outstanding shares of that company. in connection with my commencement of service on Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority, I am providing notice of my association with KeyBank and plan to withdraw from all decisions and deliberations related in any manner to matters related to my employer. This was signed and notarized on December 15th, 2025.
Great. Thank you for that. Updates from other committee chairs. Mayor Weiss, I know you had a meeting this morning.
Yes. We will be having a follow-up meeting right after the first of the year with the hope of approving the audit charter in February. So that's the plan on that. And then secondly, at your places for board members, there's a sheet that looks like this. It provides an opportunity for board members to suggest topics for the 2026 audit plan. So any ideas or thoughts that you would like Mr. Garofoli to consider as part of the plan, please provide that back to him. Thank you.
And I talked with Tony this morning, and I know that he traditionally sends this out now and again in January with a later due date. It's incredibly helpful to him if you have thoughts that you can share the next 2 weeks. If not, for sure, if you're taking some vacation, earned vacation, if you can address that the first week in January, that would be greatly appreciated. You've got it now. If you could just get it on your calendar with that due date, that really will help him and his team plan much better than getting that information at the end. Any other committee reports? All right. Any other ad hoc committee reports? Okay, great. Introduction of new employees and announcements of promotions. Ida Marshall, Senior Manager of Talent Acquisition. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Board President Kumar, General Manager, CEO, India Birdsong Terry, and entire Board of Trustees. As we navigate through our current hiring freeze, I will announce the approved positions that are considered essential. Okay. So we're going to start out with our bus operators, and also I want to note that we are including our part-time bus operators that will allow us more flexibility with service. Well, starting out with Crystal Coleman, bus operator, Talib Hakeem, Kiona Hollins, Juanita McCarroll, Tanisha Allman, Hakeem Corbett, Kaylin Jones, Jamie Mulazim, Austin Caldwell. Continuing on with our bus operators are Nicole Turner, Lewis Martin III, Tierra Owens, Michael McKenzie, Octavia Jackson, Van Roy Bowie, Alan Yee, Marvin Smith, and Anthony Williams. Samuel Mwebe, Quinn Patrick O'Malley as a rail machinist, Angel Chambrier, transit police officer, Travis Bush, labor safety sensitive, David Maddox, labor safety sensitive, and last but not least is Tracy X, our senior counsel, labor, employment, and administrative law. And that will conclude.
Thank you so much for the
You're
update.
welcome.
Just a quick comment before you leave the dais there. I just want to be able to say thank you and commend Ms. Marshall as well as George Fields and the entire talent acquisition team. It was much more than just talent acquisition, but they take the lead on being able to recruit talent into RTA. There was a concerted effort a few years ago when we were in the situation, I believe, Doc, we were 150 vacancies. 150 vacancies on primarily the bus operator side. And what is our new number, Ida?
26.
All right. That is huge. And for those of you that say, well, you're still 26 in the hole, let me say that is an amazing feat. And if I'm not mistaken, and Joel, I'm looking at you, one of my first questions that I ask of any sort of planning and operational management team is where are we trying to get to, right? Because you almost never want to get down to zero, because at that point you have to think about what is your overtime and everything that goes into it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our goal was around 25 to get to a level footing in bus operations. If you could provide any color on that, Joel, just to be able to explain the magnitude of the reduction of the vacancy, that would be great.
Yeah, while zero is perfect, you're quite correct that at this point, We are not asking at all unreasonable amounts of overtime. We're not building unreasonable amounts of overtime into runs. So this has been a fantastic achievement. So
Thank you.
I echo the general manager's thank you to the HR division.
We appreciate it, and I want to say thank you to Doc and team, because operations really stepped in. This was a really collaborative effort. We couldn't have done any of this without everyone's help, so we appreciate you. Thank you. Okay.
Great,
All
thank you
right.
so much.
You're welcome.
Right now, we have resolutions. Brett, 2025-111.
2025-111, reappointment of 8 members to the Community Advisory Committee.
Thank you so much, and I think Dr. Caver has a few comments for management.
I do. Thank you, Mayor Kumar, members of the board, and members of the public. I am Flauncey Caver, the Chief Operating Officer here at the Greater Cleveland RTA. For the board members, inside of your packet, there is a memo attached to this. During the committee meeting, there were a few questions, and we wanted to bring some clarification to those questions. The first was related to the size of the committee, and we want to just share with you that the code book does cap the size of the committee. The committee may have a number of individuals between 11 and 15. Today, you will be reappointing a total of 8 potentially, which will bring the total to 11, and you will have 4 more members that you can add. The second part of the memo describes the member selection process, and I just want to share that the code book, that responsibility is the board's responsibility, and so you will be able to develop a selection process through a selection screening committee to add 4 more members at your will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you've heard the update from management. Do I have a motion and a second for these reappointments?
So move, McPherson.
Second, Smith Wiggum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. 2025-112.
Authorizing contract number 2025-100 with Knox Kershaw, Inc. for the procurement of a ballast regulator in an amount not to exceed $566,558. RTA Development Fund, Fleet Management Department budget.
Thank you for that. There are no comments on that particular resolution. And could I have a motion and a second as well for that?
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Love.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes as well. 2025-113.
Authorizing contract number 2025-128 with Cook Paving and Construction Company, Inc. for light rail retaining wall repairs, Phase 3, in an amount not to exceed $1,360,138. RTA Development Fund, Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second for that?
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, McPherson.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Pichetti,
Yes.
Mayor Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. McPherson, Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Abstain?
Ms. Wiggum,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you for that. That passes. 2025-114.
Authorizing contract number 2025-132 with SLE Technologies, Inc. for paratransit vehicle lift replacement, Phase 1, in an amount not to exceed $612,814.42. RTA Development Fund, Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
Great. You have heard that resolution. Any comments from the board? If not, a motion and a second, please.
Move to approve, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes as well. 2025-115.
Authorizing contract number 2025-156 with Oracle America, Inc. to provide Oracle EBS software licenses, maintenance, and support services for a period of 1 year in an amount not to exceed $756,632.95. General Fund, Management Information Services Department budget.
Okay. I'd like to move that forward today. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved, Mayor Weiss.
Second, Pichetti.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 115 passes. 2025-116.
Authorizing contract number 2025-157 with Trapeze Software Group, Inc. to provide additional licenses for its Trapeze paratransit software in an amount not to exceed $395,500. General Fund, Information Technology Department budget.
Thank you for that. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion Pachetti.
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 116 is adopted. 2025-117.
Authorizing the purchase of property insurance from Liberty Mutual and Evanston Insurance Company through an Aon Risk Services Northeast, Inc. for a period of 12 months for a total contract amount not to exceed $1,453,938. General Fund, Risk Management Department budget.
Thank you for that, Brent. Do I have a motion and a second for Resolution 117?
So moved, Mayor Weiss.
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 117 is adopted. 2025-118.
Amending Article 7 of the bylaws and sections 220.03 and 642.01 of the codified rules and regulations of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority and repealing Section 620.04 of the codified rules and regulations of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority.
Thank you for that. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved, Sleesman.
Second McPherson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 118 is adopted. 2025-119.
Amending Chapters 460 and 842 of the codified rules and regulations of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority.
Thank you so much for that. I think there may be a comment from management.
Thank you so much. I am going to punt over to our Deputy for Finance, Raj Gotham, to be able to give a little bit of clarity on the item that's in front of you due to some adjustment in the language after our committee discussion.
Thank you, India. For those online, this is Raj Gotham. I'm the CFO for GCRTA. Just wanted to remind the board members that after the committee presentation and the discussions that we'd had, the provisions that are being proposed for change in Chapter 460 relate to the 15-day floor in the Budget Stabilization Fund and the creation of the TOD Reserve Fund. The changes that had previously been proposed to the operating ratio have not been made, and the language remains the same.
Thank you so much for that. Do I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second Pachetti.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 119 is adopted. 2025-120.
Amending Section 1013.04 and Chapter 1086 of the codified rules and regulations of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority.
Thank you for that. Again, another update of our codified rules. It's good to get these on the books. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion Gallo. Second Smith Wiggum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 120 is adopted. 2025-121.
Approval of the authority's 2026 Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan.
Great. And again, I might have a comment from India on this.
I do. So just before you consider voting on this one, I just wanted to bring to the attention of the board the work that has gone into the PTAS, as we call it. This is the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. We like acronyms in public transportation, and this is none different. There was a lot of work that went into providing the document. Mr. Morris, you might as well approach the dais. I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. We have requested that the Amalgamated Transit Union, our partner in this. Oh my, Clarence, you're trying to hide from me. Oh my gosh, hold on a second. Move over, Darnell. So we have Clarence King, who is the president of the Local 268, our amalgamated transit union partner, and of course, his vice president, and in all things transit, Mr. Darnell Morris. They always try to hide from me, considering their height. That's an amazing feat. I got to get you back for that. We've asked them to be able to just share in the happiness that we have. I can pretty much say that. Usually the one picture of the year that has myself and the president smiling is the signing of the PTAS, and you'll see that in my presentation. It's really important because this, on a serious note, really codifies the work that goes into all year long maintaining the safety of our system. And given some of the recent events that I'll go into a little bit later in my presentation, this is really underscored where we want to make sure that our employees go home the same way that they came. And we also want to make sure that our customers do the same. So when at all possible, we make sure that we go through every rule and regulation that we've got to ensure the personal safety of those folks that are in our care. And we can't do it without the union. The Federal Transit Administration has ensured of that, and we appreciate them for that as well. I want to say that we are still in the minority nationwide for those that have had a successful signing, but we have been doing it year after year. We were among the top 5, I'm pretty certain of that, absolutely positive of the top 10 in the country that were the first to sign off. And this is an amazing feat considering we're in an area that's very diverse as far as population, ideas, thought, practices. And again, we appreciate our partners. So, Sir President, if you'd like to say anything, we appreciate it.
Good morning. I just want to say thank you for you and your team. I appreciate how well we work together. Whenever we come with problems, by the next meeting, they're always resolved. Where's Steve? Thank you. I've had Darnell text Steve all times of the night, morning. He responds right away and he takes care of it right away. So I appreciate you for that. And I'm looking forward to what we can continue to do next year with the next PTAS, as well as the other things that we always do. It's a joy working together with your team, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as clarification, Steve Paganoff, you guys are hiding on me today. Steve is our safety manager. He does more than just the PTAS, but he is absolutely the first one to respond usually, and Kevin Case is his right hand. Those two gentlemen are leading a huge effort with not only the PTAS, but state safety oversight and our relationship that reports into Janet Burney through legal, but via safety. So we appreciate the work that you guys do on that. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Very important thing we do each year. I'm going to make a motion to move that forward. Is there a second?
Second, Gallo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries as well, 121. 2025, 122.
Making appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures for the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority during fiscal year 2026.
Great. I just want to thank Raj and his team for all the hard work. And where's Kay's here? You're hiding behind the podium. Everybody's hiding today. But thank the whole team for the budget and the work the board members have done on that in the public meetings. Any other comments from management on that? If not, a motion and a second, please.
So moved, Mayor Weiss.
Second, Gallo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 122 passes. Next, Raj Gotham, Deputy General Manager of Finance, will provide the Secretary Treasurer's report.
Mayor Kumar, members of the board, good morning once again. My name is Raj Gautam. I am the Chief Financial Officer and the Board Secretary Treasurer, here to present the monthly report for the month of December, mostly November activity and some December updates as necessary. We'll start reviewing with the economic conditions under which we're operating. The FOMC decreased the interest rates at the December 9th and 10th meeting by 0.25%. The interest rates are now down to 3.75%. The annual inflation rate, as we all recall, decreased from a high of 9.1%, which is not on the slide, back in June 2022, to a low of 2.3% in April 2025, to 3.0% in September 2025. Because of the government shutdown, The October CPI was not released. The expectations are that it may not be released. November CPI is scheduled to be released on December 18th, and we'll communicate that at a future meeting. We started sharing consumer confidence, which is a survey of consumers conducted by the University of Michigan. I want to say about 5 or 6 months ago. So the survey shows that the long-run inflation expectations decreased from 3.4% last month to 3.2% in December, and that has been the lowest since January 2025. Consumer sentiment month over month changed and showed a positive increase of 4.5%. However, the year-over-year change is still a 28% decline. Current economic conditions, 0.8% decrease, year-to-year 32.5% decline. Consumer expectations, month-over-month 7.8% increase, and year-over-year 25% decline. We'll review the ridership through November 2025. In November 2025, the year-to-date ridership was 1.3% lower when compared to the same time frame in 2024. When we compare the ridership to the pre-COVID levels, which is on the right-hand side of the slide, from 2019, 29.6 million rides to 2025, 22.6 million rides, that represents a decline of 7 million rides, or roughly 24%. Passenger fares, 35.8% below November 2024, largely due to a timing issue of certain receipts, large receipts that had been collected in November 2024. On a year-to-date basis, we are 2.9% below 2024 levels. Comparison to pre-COVID levels on the right-hand side, once again, that shows a decline of about 9.9 million, or roughly 25%. As we all remember, sales tax comes in around the 18th through the 20th each month. We do not have the December sales tax collections to report. You had not previously seen the November collection, so we're reporting the November numbers. And once again, another reminder that there is a 3-month lag in revenue, and what that means is that the November collections really were based on the August 2025 economic activity in the county, which included an expanded 14-day sales tax holiday on most items under $500. November 2025 receipts were 3.4% lower when compared to the previous year. Year to date, we are 3.6% higher when compared to last year. 10 out of the 21 categories that make up the sales tax base were positive in November. Online sales were 10.3% higher. Motor vehicles and watercraft were 3.38% higher. Regular and statewide sales were up a little over 1%. We've been reporting certain selected data that is selected from the package that you have in front of you. Total long-term debt, there was a principal payment of approximately $8 million that was made in early December. So our long-term debt stands as of today at $13.9 million. Average investment yield on a year-to-date basis is 4.07%. Total cash and investments stand at $347.6 million, of which $316.1 million is in restricted funds, leaving $31.5 million in the general fund, which meets the 1-month reserve policy, the board policy. We have, on the budget stabilization and the revenue stabilization fund side, we have transferred $45 million as of today's date. And remember, the 2025 budget was $50.5 million. We are continuing to monitor to make sure if we will need the rest of the amount. Since we're talking about debt, the next couple of slides kind of gives a historical perspective of the outstanding debt. Going back to 2012, our long-term debt was nearly $170 million. The spike that you see in 2019 was the last bond issuance of 30 million that we had conducted. We have not issued any debt since then. You see a big decline from 2020 to 2021. That is when that bond defeasance had taken place that we all recall. Our current balance, as I had previously stated, in 2025, as of today's date, is 13.9 million. Now, what does this impact? How does this impact the debt service, which really is the principal and interest component? And that's shown over here, that back in 2012, when we had outstanding debt of nearly 170 million, our debt service, principal plus interest, was roughly 20 million. As of today's date, debt service is half of that, less than half of that. If no new debt is issued over the next few years, we do project that we would be debt-free by the end of 2030. 2026 debt service is projected to be 7.6 million. And with that, I would be happy to take any questions.
Any questions from board members? Can you go back, Raj, just for me to the ridership right before the sales tax? So where are we on
Passenger fares or this one?
Yeah, just a ridership. So we're actually seeing a slight decrease from 24 to 25.
This is, I think, ridership has been relatively stable, so this is probably the first time that we're showing a decrease. Weather could be a pattern, so we'll continue monitoring that to make sure if this is a trend that we need to be concerned about.
A lot going on with weather.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And just to build on that question, so from, say, post or coming out of the pandemic, 2020 to 24, I know we don't have the data here, but there was a essentially year-to-year increase, and 25 may be the first year that we're seeing a slight.
That is correct. That is correct. So it's been, as I've been calling, relatively stable to a slight decline for the first time in the last 3 or 4 years.
Anyone else? Thank you so much for the report.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Next, the general manager's report for Ms. Terry.
Good morning again. Before I start today, I want to make sure that I give acknowledgement to those that ride our system. And when I say that, I want to make sure that I say thank you again publicly for entrusting in us to have a safe ride to and from wherever you may be traveling. We have, you may have seen in the news recently, a couple of fatalities that occur in our system. I would be remiss without mentioning that here today. I don't want to give a rosy picture without acknowledging those two individuals that unfortunately did perish close or near to or on our system. Understand that those sort of instances are not taken lightly. We do have an increased vigilance in our system, and that's a daily activity that we've got. Our transit police, we always say this, but I mean it when I say that we are very fortunate to have those individuals on our staff. We cannot control everyone who rides our system. We cannot control the mental health of everyone that rides our system, nor can we control the interactions of individuals that sometimes end up in a personal dispute. However, what we can do is react, be proactive, and also ensure that we play our part in making sure that we monitor the system as best we can. Our transit police was very proactive and reactive, and I mentioned that in a positive light. And Chief, I am looking at you when I say this to make sure that if I am incorrect in any statement, you will jump in, which I know she will. We were able to react, and by that, to be able to get to the scene within minutes for both instances, one at the Superior Station and the other at the Puritas Rail Station. And that alone means that we are watching. That alone means that we are within close radius, if not right there, and on the scene. We also were able to work with local authorities to ensure that both perpetrators were captured and apprehended within an hour or less of both incidents. So I just want to make sure that I say that to have it on record, but also to assure you that we are doing everything we can to monitor our system and ensure that we are there when you need us most. Both incidents, unfortunately, unfolded within a very short, rapid period of time and escalated in a way that was not associated with the service itself, but more or less with personal interaction among the people on the service. So when you are riding, I ask that you take the heed to one of our customers who mentioned be kind to each other, and also make sure that you try to go home in the same way that you came. We also have riders that are watching and are riding along with you, and we have to take care of one another. If you do have any questions, I would actually recommend that you reach out to our PIO, Public Information Officer, Bob Fleeg, and we have provided all the information that is currently available through our media outlets. With that, I'm going to move on to the report that I've got prepared for you today. In better news, I wanted to be able to also talk about some of the grant awards. Finances is something that is coming up over and over again in our meetings. You'll hear that where we're either talking about something as dire as avoiding a fiscal cliff, or we'll talk about something that is as positive as winning an award in grant funding. So this is a positive slide here. We were awarded, excuse me, $4 million in change. As is mentioned up on the screen here, through the Ohio Department of Transportation, otherwise known as ODOT, through the Neo Ride and CalStart program. This is a partnership that focuses on low or no emission vehicles and training that goes along with it. So this really trains us up for the future. We've had a lot of conversation on what type of propulsion engines and what kind of vehicles we're looking to continue with. As many of you know, we have CNG, compressed natural gas. We also have a few diesels still left within the system, and we are continuing to also review hybrids when appropriate. This grant partnership between Neo Ride and CalStart is really housed within the workforce development area of our department. We are actually hosting a Cummins. They're a bus engine manufacturing company. The training spans from November through February of next year. The HR department is really spearheading that, along with training and, of course, bus maintenance. And then we also wanted to make sure that we give a shout out to the gentleman. I'm not sure, I believe that might be all gentlemen, might be one lady in there, regarding the peer agencies throughout Ohio that are participating in this program. George, did I miss anything?
No, you got it.
Always good to hear. Thank you, George. Also, we talked about this ad nauseum, but the PTAS program, as I mentioned before, that is the smiling picture that I referenced of myself and President King. We strive to make sure that we can continue in that tradition, no matter who sits in either one of our seats, to make sure that that PTAS safety program is agreed to, signed off on every year without fail. And we have made good on that so far, so we appreciate all of the work that goes into that. Flonse Caver and his team under operations do a phenomenal job of working with the safety department to make sure that we have all of the T's crossed and I's dotted. Also wanted to also give you an idea on where I am representing the authority, whether it's in, excuse me, nice to have conversations or have to have conversations. This is In Council with Women, excuse me, ICWW is what it stands for. And this is a fireside chat with the, I'll call her newish. She's been at the Cleveland Reserve Bank of Cleveland, the Federal Reserve. I always want to say the Fed, and I've got to be more professional with that. So the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, Beth Hammock is the new CEO there. It was a great opportunity to hear from her. She is the third from the left in the red sweater there, to be able to hear about some of the work that's going on at the Fed, and also some of the partnerships that can be had there. We talked about leadership flexibility, work-life balance, which is very difficult for a lot of us, and then also just how we got into the positions and how we can work to maintain them. So we appreciate that and welcome her to the city. Also, Plexus, if you are not familiar, is an LG, thank you, teamwork. Take care if you're choking at the dais, so I appreciate that. LGBTQ and Allied Chamber of Commerce. We were able to host Plexus here in this room for a dinner that really allowed us to be able to host them. If you will see, our Chief Jones was able to serve as our gracious host to be able to talk to young professionals and mid-career professionals on how to be able to work on acceptance in the workplace and also how to build professional networks in a supportive environment. Chief, did you have anything I may have missed in just the general communication of that evening? Thank you for not buying me any time to drink. Thank you. So no comments on that one. We do work with them quite a bit in our OEO space as well. So if you do have any questions, feel free to see Chief or Felicia Brooks-Williams for our OEO department. The next one up is the Ohio Public Transportation Association, OPTA. You'll hear me talk about them a few times a year. They're operating throughout the year, but they're our advocacy organization for transit in the state of Ohio. Along with me here, you'll see a few of our board members, as well as a few of our marketing and planning staff and external affairs staff that really were there to celebrate our win, so to speak, at the annual event in November in Columbus. Either a person or an agency can win the Milestone Award, and that is based off of the time, right? Hence the name. We were recognized as RTA for our 50th anniversary, and so we really appreciate the recognition of OPTA, and this really is a testament to how long we've been in the transit game, so to speak, and they really did us justice as far as appreciating Cleveland and how we've contributed to public transportation over the years. I believe COTA was up to bat as well, but this was our year for recognition. Also, Leadership APTA. I was able to have the privilege to sit on a panel. I participated virtually with 4 different or 3 other panelists to be able to share professional journeys. The folks that you see listed below are throughout the agency. Some are private companies, some are public. But really the idea here was to talk about how to manage culture change and how to manage through transition, especially in leading out versus down, to be able to understand your community and be able to be a better leader within the public transit arena. So appreciate that. And of course, APTA, American Public Transit Association, is our partner in crime, and we are working through legislative and policy items. So we appreciate them for that. Also, wanted to highlight one of our vendors. Many times you do not see who picks up the call, right? So for example, Mr. King mentioned when we were talking about the PTAS that Steve Paganoff picks up the call every time, right? If you have a safety issue, you want someone to be on the other end of that line. You don't want it to roll to voicemail. You don't want to be on hold on end. You want someone to be able to pick up your call when you need them most. This is what we encounter with More Counseling. They are our EAP provider. That's our employee assistance provider. They work with us through traumatic events, when folks need to be able to get counseling, when they need someone to talk to, when they need to be able to work through something going on at home that's impacting their job. More Counseling is who we call. They have been working in that space for over 25 years. This is their first fundraiser. That says a lot. And they are a local giant in that space. The couple that is right between myself and Scott Ferraro, so if you look at the lady in the silver and the gentleman to her left, that is Mr. and Mrs. Moore. We're used to calling them Brian and Martina because we were so familiar, but we appreciate them and celebrate them and what they have provided to the Cleveland community. Holiday district visits. Again, just want you to let you know where I have been. This is where I give kind of a mini state of the agency at every district that we have. It's a tradition that I've kept up since my first quarter working here at RTA. Pre-pandemic, I can finally say that, and just kind of kept it going. So I've done that through masks, I've done that through pregnancy, I've done that through a lot of weather, and it's great to be able to have this kind of road show at the end of the year, and it's proving very effective because my message is evolving as we continue talking through finances and the like. I have been through the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus additional others, or 4. I believe paratransit is the last up on the deck later on this week, and so it's been really nice to be able to go out and shake hands and talk with people and get good ideas about ways to avert any financial issues. All right, so we like to embarrass people here. So Chanel, we'd like, that is her glam shot. We would like to say, welcome again to the board. We appreciate Ms. Smith-Wiggum to the board. As was mentioned through her affidavit, she works at Key Bank in a senior management position. She will be serving through March of 2027 for the city of Cleveland. We really appreciate her addition to our team here. If you do count, I believe that we are one position down, so we'll be looking for an additional person coming on within the springtime. And then also, I do not have a slide because it happened dynamically, but I want to say congratulations to Mayor Weiss for being reelected to our board, which happened yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, for the County Mayors and Managers Association. They have to go through an election process, so we give you a little bit more homework. I know you got enough of that at Shaker, but we do appreciate you and the contributions that you have given to our board. Welcome. If either one of you have any comments, we'd be glad to hear.
You're very kind. No, just I appreciate the confidence that the community and my colleagues have shown in permitting me to serve again, and I very much appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really excited to start my 10th year as a Board of Trustee member, but also recognize the shoulders in which the person I stand upon, Reverend Lucas, and may he rest in power. And I can't completely feel his voice, but I can bring his spirit as I take on the remainder of his term. So thank you.
We appreciate you. He'll be monitoring your wardrobe from above. Just wanted to, speaking of resting in power and peace, I wanted to make sure that we took a moment of silence to recognize someone who was on the RTA staff for nearly 40 years. This was Miss Gisela Gregoire. Giz is what we call her affectionately. So we wanted to make sure, and I wanted to make sure that I got that name exactly correct because everyone called her Giz for years and years. And so sometimes the formality gets lost on deaf ears. But she was the former legal secretary. So if you think about Janet Burney and her predecessor, Cheryl King Bimford, that was her right hand through many years and decades of service. She was the office manager, but really just corralled the troops. I had the pleasure of being able to work alongside her her last few years here at RTA, but also recognizing the impact that she left on the authority. So at this time, I would like to ask Janet or Anna to maybe say a few words about Ms. Giz and what she meant to RTA.
Thank you. It was quite a shock when we got word that Giz had passed away. But her memory and her presence and her influence still remains very much in the legal division and certainly in RTA. I can say that I think they broke the mold when Giz was born and became a manager and a supporter and just a partner in making sure that the legal department and the general counsel's work and everything kept running smoothly. She will be greatly missed, but we're going to make sure that we continue to hold true and fast to the principles and commitment and dedication that she displayed in her 38 years here. So God bless you, Giz, your family, and all of those of us who were blessed with her presence while at RTA. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. We appreciate that. And if we can, just take a moment of silence to appreciate Giz and her impact on the RTA and the greater Cleveland community. Thank you so much. And with that, that concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Thank you so much. Under President's report, just what we talked about a bit earlier is the 2026 risk-based internal audit plan. That feedback to Tony and his team is extremely important, and the sooner you can get it to him, the better for him and his planning efforts. So appreciate that. Is there any old business? Any new business?
Just a quick, yep. Just a quick addition. I just want to make sure we do have a few CAC members in the audience, and we do need to swear them in. So if I can punt it over to Janet for a moment before we close out.
Thank you. For those members of the CAC who are here, who by the resolution that was adopted by the board have been reappointed to the CAC, we'd like for you to just to stay for a few minutes after the meeting so we can swear you in. If you just can just kind of gather by the podium, and we'll get everything straight, swear you in, have you sign a few documents, and then you'll be good to go. But thank you very much again for your willingness to serve. Thank you.
Just for clarification, we can close out prior to the swearing in, correct? Mayor Kumar said that's what you told him. All right.
Whichever way you want to do it. I'm just sitting over here on the side.
That's what Dr. Great. Okay. The next regular board meeting is scheduled for January 20th, 2026 in this boardroom at the authority of the Root McBride Building. Make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second, Pachetti.
Meeting is all in favor?
Aye.